So I am here in the WaterMind studio, and we have two of our employees, Dennis Everett and Robert Touchton, at the VeeamOn2019 Conference in Miami, Florida. And we are going to have Robert call in and tell us a little bit about what he's learning.
Yeah, hey Ashley.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. Yeah, so we came down over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. They had training for getting the Veeam engineer certification, and then
Awesome.
the conference started on Tuesday. So we're attending some of the sessions, just going over best practices, some of the worst practices to do, some of the cybersecurity stuff, just basically the resilience things, handling ransomware. So it's not really, a lot of the cool takeaways that we've always done backups and things in the past, but they have a lot of features that go into the backups. You can use different scanning tools, even different than that were installed on the original machines that you're backing up, so that you can kind of mix the software and run scans on those backups to see if there's any kind of malware. And then the next step really is testing those backups. So it's not just the fact that you've made the backups, but it is important to go back through there and test the backups so that you know that you have valid backups.
Awesome. So it looks like you're in the session right now. Is that what you're learning there?
Yeah, so this is the general session behind us. So they were just going over the 7 worst practices to do. So there's just so many features in the software that maybe some options fit a specific thing that you're trying to do. So just because those options aren't, the options are there, they may not be your optimal options. So they do have, the Veeam can basically connect to, in our case, we're typically using VMware. So it can connect and integrate to VMware for us doing snapshots, go in, read snapshots from VMware, and allow you to restore your servers back to whatever was a good backup.
Right. So is Dennis in that session, or is he out on the beach?
Yeah, Dennis. Yeah. He was sneaking out to the beach some, but yeah, he's in this session. He's actually in different training classes. So his trainer was the person that wrote the best practices for Veeam. So he was able to get a lot of
Awesome.
one-on-one time with the guy outside of it, and just ask some of the questions that he's been having trouble with, because we're using Veeam at Gwinnett County. So we've got basically 6 locations. Those things are doing backups locally, replicating to off-site storage. So there's a lot of cool little features in there too, where they have things called accelerators.
Right.
So basically you can put these proxies on each side, and it can do deduping, which ends up looking at the backups. And say you've made 10 backups throughout the day, instead of transferring those full backups across a WAN or some network, what it can do is before the backup is transferred, it knows what's already been backed up. So it can go down at the bit level and say, I don't need to transfer 75% of this information. I can just put a marker in there and say, hey, I've already transferred this. So these, the 10 transfers that you were going to put over the network, each one of them may be able to be reduced down 75%. So there's a lot of cool features in there like that just out of the box, you may set the backups and transfer these 10 throughout the day, where you can really optimize that transfer.
It sounds like it's a super valuable trip.
Yeah, it's definitely getting the one-on-one with some of these guys, and the fact that we've been using the software for a while and being able to have one-on-one to ask these questions with some of these guys and just figure out how they would recommend us using this. But definitely the backups, that's something that all these plants need to be doing, because it's not only just hardware failure, it does help recover from ransomware. So, they did mention even a utility that we know of that had actually, for a very low cost with the software, could have avoided this ransomware.
Wow. Wow, well, that's awesome. What have you guys been doing for nightlife? Have you been having a fun time other than the conference? You look tan.
Yeah. So usually it gets over with about 5. Actually, tonight they're supposed to have Flow Rider playing for their event tonight.
That's cool.
So we've been able to hang out with some customers too. We've got some of the guys from Gwinnett County are down here, so we've been hanging out with them. One of them are actually in the training with us. Since we're using it at that plant, he's going to be managing it. So
right, and
that's kind of good to have. Yeah, Sam and Joseph. So not only for us to be here, but for Joseph, for him being able to implement some of those things, and he's going to end up managing it. So it's good to have him here too.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I know you are busy with your schedule up until 5, so we appreciate you calling in. We hope you guys continue to have fun and learn tons that you can bring back here later in this week.
Yeah, our next, one of the things they mentioned yesterday was some of the new storage stuff coming out, and Dennis and I just, hadn't even heard of some of this, where they were started off saying that they were going to be starting to store information on glass, and then they said that they had actually been working on trying to store information in DNA, storing data in DNA.
Wow.
So just kind of some off-the-wall stuff out. There's definitely there's a lot of, I think, cool things out there to come.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you again, and we hope to see you soon. So thank you for tuning in to the Water Minds podcast. We'll see you next time.